Welcome to Uber. A reliable ride is always just minutes away. Let's get one. Welcome to Uber. A reliable ride is always just minutes away. Let's get one.
Welcome back to ShowtimeWeb Radio. I'm your humble host, Chris Young.
Welcome to Uber. A reliable ride is always just minutes.
We're talking about Talladega again, and I'm going to start off the podcast with my commentary on some of
Welcome back to ShowtimeWeb Radio. I'm your humble host.
Interview with Mr. Roland Martin, and then we're going to move on to one with CNN, and Don Lemon did an interview. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so here we have TV1,
right,
Mr. Roland Martin.
Controversy, the Talladega College Marching Tornado Band has decided to accept an invitation to perform in the Inauguration Day Parade on January 20th. Historically Black College has received a tremendous amount of backlash for that decision. In fact, some students have actually sent back their degrees. A number of Talladega...
Let's hit the brakes on Mr. Martin real quick. Hey, no students are returning their degrees. What the story is, the sons of honorary degree recipients are returning the degrees. Sons of... Here we are. You do a quick search on Google. You can go through AL.com or Ebony.com. AL.com's headline is way off because it says sons of Talladega College grads to return degrees because band will play at Trump inauguration. They weren't Talladega College grads. Ebony.com got it correct. Surprisingly, wow. Sons of former Talladega teachers take action over school's inauguration decision. And the sons are returning the degrees. Why? Because their deceased parents, Donald and Lori Rasmussen, who once taught at Talladega College, would be deeply disappointed in the school's decision to allow the school to play at President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration. I doubt they would. I mean, I can't really speak for them because they're dead, but considering that Talladega County, and basically anything outside of Birmingham is at Jefferson County is Republican. And at that time, when Donald and Lori were alive, that would have been a Democrat area because, the party switched. There was a switching of parties during the 60s.
And at that time, when Donald and Lori were alive,
but anyways, let's continue with this
Democrat area.
That's the first lie, Mr.
Because party
Roland has told. Let's go.
In fact, some students have actually sent back their degrees. A number of Talladega College alumni did not want the band to make the trek down Pennsylvania Avenue because of President-elect Donald Trump's bigoted remarks during the campaign. Now, critics argue that participating in the parade amount to supporting Trump, but supporters of the decision say that the trip would be a great experience for the 200-plus students in the band. There are now petitions out for those who support.
Oh, CNN did an interview with this chick. Not impressed. Continue.
And those who oppose the band coming to D.C. The results will be delivered to the president of Talladega and its board of trustees. Now, the president of Talladega agreed yesterday to come on this show today to discuss this very issue. I personally called the president's office a couple of days ago, actually on Monday, to get him to come on the Tom Jones Morning Show, my segment there.
All right. Right here is where Roland starts to sound like a little baby whining because the president of Talladega College canceled his interview. In all the years that Roland has been in the business of journalism, I'm sure he's been canceled on more than once. Continue, crybaby.
As well as the show. They said he was at a conference, was out of town. He would speak on Thursday. We reached out. We talked to him on Thursday. He then all of a sudden at 8 o'clock last night We got an email, we got a response from them saying that he was canceling. Now, I don't understand why the president of Talladega is afraid to have a conversation. They also had some conditions on the interview as well, saying that they wanted to send over a list of talking points for us to stick to. That's not what I do. So let me
cry me a river.
President, if you want to come on the show, discuss it. It's okay. We won't bite. But we do have some questions because graduates of your institution are also raising the issue. Let's go to our panel here. I mean, look, we've seen that a single high school band in Washington, D.C. Want to participate in this inauguration parade. We see Rockettes who protested. We see they can't get any major singer. Rebecca Ferguson out of Britain, she said, "Oh, I'll sing." She said, but you got to let me sing. Also sing "Strange Fruit," which talks about the lynching of blacks in this country. And so what do you make of this HBCU getting this heat? Yolanda, go ahead.
You might be surprised by this, but I think it's a good idea for them to march in the parade.
All right, now listen to this one lady, Miss Yolanda Young. Now she's going to make some strong points later on in the interview, and she's one of the two I agree with. Her and the Asian lady. Continue.
It's a good idea for them to march in the parade. I think in these instances you have to do a balancing test. I'm coming out of Howard University at a time when a Republican was our president, James Cheek.
All right, so she just mentioned Mr. James Cheek. If you don't know who that is, he was the president of Howard University. And according to Wikipedia.com, he was Howard University's president from 1968 to 1989. And the Republican she's speaking of would be Mr. Ronald Reagan himself. Y'all want to talk about Trump races. And then further in here it said, in 1989, Mr. Cheek appointed Republican National Committee Chairman Lee Atwater as a member of the Howard University Board of Trustees. And y'all are complaining about Trump? Y'all, man, continue with this interview. Lee Atwater.
And he made deals with Republicans that put Howard University in a position of power, in a position of financial strength, and he has been able to, because of him, we are still reaping the fruits of his strategy, right?
Yeah. And notice what Ms. Young says about a strategy. Maybe Talladega's president is trying to do the same thing here. Continue.
Well, I absolutely, first of all, think that the inauguration is not a political rally. I mean, it is a celebration of the United States, of the Constitution, of the transfer of power. It is. Hillary Clinton is attending, Bill Clinton is attending. It is not about taking sides, or it's about celebrating the United States. And I think to deny these kids, that kind of experience is wrong. And they participated in an NFL event. I'm sure if they got invited to the Super Bowl, they would probably say yes. In the Super Bowl, you want to talk about controversy, that's the #1 site of human trafficking. So let's put everything in perspective.
All right, Ms. Zoldak made great points throughout her part, but the thing about the human trafficking at the Super Bowl, it's not a good comparison. Now, she could have talked about the white men who run the NFL, who have made derogatory remarks towards many groups, black folks, women. The comparison. Now, she could have talked about the white men.
But there are people, Avis, who are personally offended by Donald Trump, what he said in his conduct.
Absolutely. I'm an HBCU grad as well, Virginia State University. I actually used to be a member of the band when I was at Virginia State.
All right. So now Ms. DeWeaver has joined the conversation with her
personally offended by Donald Trump, what he said in his
conduct. I would never step foot in a parade to celebrate this specific president-elect. I would see it as condoning and somehow rubber stamping his hateful statements. Beyond his hateful statements, the reality that he has selected a known white nationalist to be his top policy advisor. And I would just suggest, in terms of this specific university, whatever PR relations relationships they have or strategy they have or strategists they have, they really need to rethink that, because I think that the implications are going to trickle down in terms of their ability to recruit students. I think the implications are going to trickle down in terms of their ability to receive funding from alumni. It's just a bad look altogether.
All right, now she's saying that it's a bad look altogether. Well, their strategy, if one is to assume that Talladega's president is following that of Mr. James Cheek, is to try and work with the Republicans, right? And he did, because I mean, as Ms. Young said earlier in the show, earlier in her segment, she said, "Hey, he increased Howard's footprint." And look at this guy, 20 years. Now, according to Wikipedia, Howard's budget increased from $43 million to $417 million as federal appropriation, here we go, ladies and gentlemen, went from $29 million to $178 million. Now, guess what happened within the last 10 years? That has declined, but we don't want to talk about that, Mr. DC on Bandhead. Hey, he was also named, watch that, blah, blah, blah. Now, this goes on. Now, Cheeks also appointed Lee Atwater, and yeah, it says it here. Within days, both Atwater and Cheek resigned because students rose up in protest against Atwater's appointment. Well, if they would have known who Mr. James E. Cheek was walking in the door, they would have rose up back in 1968 instead of 1989. But he did get the money in there, so he knew how to work with these folks, right? And what happens when you don't work for them? Well, you get up and you make excuses online about why you can't attend the parade, Howard University. All right, we'll continue. Let's go.
Go ahead.
Might I add, though, when you do the balancing test, the harm versus the good that'll come out of it, I would suggest to you that they probably don't have a lot of alums giving that much money, but that they may now get contributions from other entities.
All right, now we get into the objective data and the objective points here, right? Now, Ms. Young comes back with, hey, when you look at the harm versus good, she's talking about Howard's strategy, right? Dealing with these guys back in the 80s, 70s and 80s, right? She goes on, alums may not be given that much money, which is a fact because most of the alumni, right, they're not really threatening to pull back funding. They're doing mostly like symbolic things, right? Making threats on change.org or wherever they're posting their petitions. That really doesn't change anything. And she also says, hey, seek money up from elsewhere. Well, that's what Howard did. Mr. James Cheek. He went up there, worked with those guys, got the federal appropriations for his school. Let's continue.
Before yesterday, I didn't know, I'd never heard of this HBCU.
Now look at Mr. Weaver's body language, right? Now, Ms. Young is throwing out points left and right. Hey, I've never heard of Talladega College, right? And now I know who they are, all because of their band. So if Talladega's objective was to build this band and get recognition for their university, it has been achieved.
I'd never heard of this HBCU. I mean, it was Tuskegee. You know, they've raised their profile.
If they're going to get that.
All right, I guess Ms. DeWeaver is just going to cut off Ms. Young because it seems as Ms. Young was destroying what Ms. DeWeaver previously said with her strong objective points.
If they're going to get that money, they need to get it now because as far as I understand, they still haven't even raised the $60,000 to get here. So, you know, I would rather them
I don't think that'll
have, well, they haven't gotten it as yet, and they're only a couple of weeks away.
Well, I'll say this here.
All right, so this panel discussion is pretty much over, but you can see how Ms. DeWeaver deflected into, well, they don't have their $60,000 yet. And Ms. Young kindly told her, oh, they're going to get it. And I'm with Ms. Young on this one. So, you go to Talladega has a GoFundMe set up. And they are at, as of today, it's January 8th and they've raised $5,805 of their $75,000 goal, and they need it by January 15th. And I'm just gonna bet that they already have the money available, or someone's already guaranteed that they'll be making that trip. So, Mr. Weaver, you are wrong. All right, let's finish this up listening to what Mr. Roland Martin has to say.
To Dr. Billy C. Hawkins. Here's my biggest deal, okay? And I'm talking directly to him and Talladega. This is simple. If you decide to go, go. Feel free to talk about it. But not doing media interviews, not hiding, makes no sense as well. Explain it to black people, explain it to your alumni why you're actually going and why you're standing by this decision. Tom Joyner is the biggest supporter of HBCUs in the country. So why are you afraid to go on his show? I'm there every Monday and Wednesday, 7:15, right here at TV1. This is the only show in America that targets African Americans as a national television show. And so I would say, Dr. Hawkins, don't agree to come on this show and then cancel at 8 o'clock last night. Have the guts to simply just address it, and then you put it out there. Don't just hide behind press releases.
Kickstart your day.
All right, so we sum this up with Roland's cries because he's upset because Dr. Hawkins decided not to do an interview on his show or Tom Joyner's, basically saying that they're the only voice for, or the only platform to reach Black America. You may want to check that, Mr. Roland Martin, because I don't watch TV1 much. So, all right, so that wraps that up. Put your opinions in the chat box. I'll work on getting a phone line set up so we can talk to. All right, that concludes this broadcast for now. Talk later.
Welcome to Uber. A reliable ride is always just minutes away. Let's get one. Welcome to Uber. A reliable ride is always just minutes away. Let's get one.
All right, guys. So this is the CNN version, well, CNN story on the Talladega issue. I'm going to go ahead and back out here and just leave it up to you guys to chat it out in the chat room. Have until, I'll run this chat for about 2 hours. So, and if you're interested in my opinion, I'm all for Talladega going. So, all right, enjoy this. I'm gonna try to do these broadcasts when there's an event. I'll probably run one next weekend since there's a Battle of the Bands in Port Arthur, Texas, and Martin Luther King Battle of the Bands in Houston, Texas, and I'll be at those hopefully. And also, we'll probably skip a week and then come back for the Saturday night broadcast. We'll do one after the Honda Battle of the Bands. All right, so hope you guys enjoy this. The reception is looking good. I like what I'm seeing. So have a good one, guys. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Talladega College's Tornado Marching Band is now at the center of a social media firestorm. The historically black school facing backlash after it was announced the band would perform during Donald Trump's inaugural parade. Many African Americans still offended by Trump's campaign, including his unorthodox appeal for black voters' support.
You're living in poverty. Your schools are no good. You have no jobs. What the hell do you have to lose?
Response on Twitter and Facebook to the participation, immediate and emotional. There is no honor in performing for one of the world's most racist people, Donald Trump, one man writes. Another writing, shame on you. While others feeling the nearly 300 band members should participate in the parade. One woman writing that she's proud of this school for breaking the barriers of racism. Another urging students to go for it.
Oh, really? Seriously? No.
When Shirley Farrell heard about her alma mater's potential role in the Trump inauguration, she started a petition urging the college to withdraw. So far, there have been more than 1,300 signatures. A member of the band launched a counter-petition saying this parade is not about politics. It's about seeing firsthand the process of a transition. Still, Farrell thinks it's a bad idea.
We're the oldest historically black college in Alabama. We have a reputation of fighting for freedom and equal rights and justice, and he doesn't stand for any of that.
Farrell says she was most offended by Trump's November 2015 rally in Birmingham. A Black Lives Matter protester was beaten, punched, and kicked by several white men in the crowd.
Trump, from the podium, seemed to encourage that with his words and his behavior.
Trump doubled down several days later.
Maybe he should have been roughed up because it was absolutely disgusting what he was doing.
I don't want the school to give the appearance of supporting him.
The hashtag Talladega College trends on Twitter, but is the battle over the band such a hot topic here? We asked people in Talladega, the center of this controversy, should the band march?
I think it'd be good exposure for Talladega College.
You think they should go? What do you think?
Yeah, they should go.
It's great to have them represent him. You know, they'll about try to put him down that he's against black people and one thing another, which he's not.
It all boils down to what is good for the college and the students. They need it.
Welcome to Uber. A reliable ride is always just minutes away. Let's get one. Welcome to Uber. A reliable ride is always just minutes away. Let's get one. Welcome to Uber. A reliable ride is always just minutes away. Let's get one.
Now understand, the Talladega Tornadoes will never be anybody's lightweight, especially not Savannah State High School. On behalf of President Billy C. Harvey and under the direction of Miguel Barr, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. All the way to Talladega, Alabama, where we hold back to no one, and we wonder why these other high school colleges even show up. Please give it up for the Talladega College Marching Tornadoes! As much as you see the Georgia Heartland, I can do the lifetime. legends in surround sound. We will hear the Marching Tornadoes play Jeremiah's We.
Welcome to Uber. A reliable ride is always just minutes away. Let's get one. Welcome to Uber. A reliable ride is always just minutes away. Let's get one. Welcome to Uber. A reliable ride is always just minutes away.